Greetings everybody, Sive Morten here with the ForexPeaceArmy.com. Let's keep going with the analysis of the euro currency. So yesterday we have considered the background for a possible short entry, but it was based on a few patterns that at the moment of when we discussed it, they have not been confirmed yet. So if you remember, we talked about the dollar index grabber and said, let's keep watching what will happen around the resistance area of the 1650. And then make the decision if we will get some patterns for a possible downward reversal. But currently market, not only the Forex, but also all other markets, including the Bitcoin, and actually everything across the board, other hostages of the big processes that stand in global finance and global politics. So for example, just yesterday, Donald Trump said that he will provide the tomahawks, but actually right at the end of the day yesterday he said he just is taking the conversation with Putin and they have decided to meet in Budapest in Hungary. So as you can see, that's of course makes market two just shaking like a boat in the sea. So from one side to another, it's extremely difficult to following these processes, and actually you can see how rapidly and drastically sentiment is changing on all markets. For example, let's take a look one again on the dollar index. You could see what has happened just yesterday. Here was the grabber, but by the end of the session, once the negotiations has happened with the Putin, you can see what has happened. The market collapsed and no grabber has been confirmed, so we haven't got it. Correspondingly, this early reversal, it's not good for shape of the pattern and might lead to the failure. Trend already has changed in the bearish on the dollar index, as well as on the euro currency. By the way, if you take a look, trend has turned bullish, and here we also haven't got any grabber around this area, so market just keep going higher. What will happen next is very difficult to say, because Donald Trump is changing the opinion a few times in a day. So, but for now, reality stands so that probably in the current circumstances, we do not have any reasons to keep searching for chances to go short, because trend on the daily chart has changed. A resistance area that normally should become the point where market could turn down has been broken, and in such circumstances, we do not have sufficient context for considering short position taking. On the fall time frame chart, you could see what has happened. Market actually has broken the conference area that we have discussed, not even 1650, but 1685. So it's just moving through the target that we have. Stand right now around 1730. The reason why market stopped here is just because it completed, if you treat it as like a double bottom, it completed its target. So usual classical target of the double bottom, it's measure between bottoms and the neckline. So if you measure it and count up from the neckline, you can see that precisely this will be around the point where the market stands. Currently, since today is also Friday, we also should take it into consideration. I would consider some short-term trades. For example, on the hourly chart, take a look. That's, by the way, the target that I talked about. I would consider this thrusting action, and if we'll get the pullback, say somewhere to the 1685, 1655, 1660, that might be a great opportunity for bullish bread and butter trade. So good thrusting upward action, 30% retracement, great chance to take position with a possible upward continuation, relatively low risk. Selling right in the top, it is very difficult to say, just because we have bullish context and we do not have yet clear patterns. But here I wouldn't sell right below the gap. It's just because really big chance that market will try to close it, because it already has passed this so big distance right to the gap. It's naive to suggest that it's just leave it without the filling. So most probable that we'll get some upward action. And also interesting how it has happened yesterday with the XOP. If you remember, we started our discussion in the point right here, and XOP was there, and we said, wait for the market will hit the XOP. But once it has hit it, it's just keep moving higher without any response. So no patterns have been formed here. So just our resistance scenario has not been realized. But this was very strong level for the market. It was confidence, resistance, and agreement. In normal cases, if market indeed stands bearish, it's quite enough to hold up protection, upward retracement, and reverse it down. If this hasn't happened, it means that market is not bearish anymore. Yes, we could get the pullback, but probably we should treat this performance as a new upward continuation. So with this all stuff in the mind, here are the two conclusions. First, on the hourly chart, as I said, I will be watching for maybe some trades on the retracement, such as a breadbasket, because we have the good thrusting action. On the high time frames, on the 4-hour time frame chart, I would wait for some more confirmation of the reversal. Particularly speaking, I like the idea of the hand shoulders here. So once market will show some response to this target, I would prefer to see it keep going higher somewhere to the 1775 area and start forming something like this. If we will get it, that will be great confirmation that indeed overall context is changing. Market is ready for the further upward direction, returning back to the top. Currently, it's difficult to suggest what particular background might be for that, what news might be released, but we probably need this to make the conclusion that the bullish context is reestablished. Until that, rally looks great. We do not want to go short with it, but I think that we need to get some really good pattern to confirm it. So that's probably all for now. Let's see what will happen. The situation overall is promised to be interesting.